What's going on, everybody? This is Eric here with No Loss Production, and today I want to go over. I get a lot of questions. How do I make my thumbnails? Where do I get my thumbnails from? Yada yada yada. So I want to go over about thumbnails today, and the program that I use is called GIMP. Is a image manipulation program. It's basically a free Photoshop, and they don't ask for money, and it's got all the tools as Photoshop. It's really nice, really good program. They run off like donations and stuff like that, so people that want to donate and stuff like that to help keep the company running, you can, but they don't require it. So basically, they have all these different kinds of tutorials over here on their website. And I'm basically just going to go over some of the basics. I'm not going to go over anything really hardcore. They've got animation. You can make GIFs out of over here. You can do whole animations. You can do 3D animations. You can do all kinds of different stuff over here. There's a lot of stuff. You can even do programming, as you can see here. There's a lot of stuff over here that you can do, and there's plenty of tutorials out there. But basically, what we're going to do is you're going to download it, and like I said, it's free. You can download it via BitTorrent or directly. I do directly instead of BitTorrent. BitTorrents can come in a zip file, and anyways, just for simple use, just do directly. Once that downloads, of course, it will go down to your stuff here. I got it already set up here. So basically, you're going to open it up, and for thumbnail size, you want to do anywhere from 1280 by 720 or to 1920 by 1080. Now, I do all of my stuff by 1080p on thumbnails, and it gets shrunk down to that, but it basically gets transferred anywhere. So anyways, what we're going to show here, when you open up GIMP for the first time, or anytime you close GIMP and reopen it, it's going to look like this. You'll have a layer box here, a tool option here. But even, say you open it and you have nothing. You're like, okay, what do I do? First things first, you go to the toolbar, and you go to down to selection toolbar, and you go down to selection, and then you can go on down, and you can get yourself a new toolbox. Boom. So now you have yourself a toolbox. All right. And the same thing works for any of the others. You can get like your layer box and everything else like that. Same way, or you can go to your windows, and so a lot of times this should be blank for the first time, but I mean, this is everything I've already had open, really easy. Or you can go to dockable and you can open everything you want. So say I just want layers and that open. That's all you really need. Some of the other stuff's not really required for right now. So let's go ahead and start on a project. And first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to hit the file button here on the GIMP program, and we're going to go down to new. Now it's going to come up as image size, and it starts off every time 640 by 400. So you just highlight that number and you type in your 1920 by 1080. But say you want to do 720p, well then you would do your 1280 by 720, just depending on the size you want it. But like I said, I do everything in 1920 by 780. But like say you're doing a banner for YouTube, I think it's 1400 by 1000, but I'm not sure about that. You'd have to look at or Twitter or Twitch or any of the other companies that have banners. You have to go by their specs, and once they give you your specs, you just come in here and slap it down and open it up, and it'll be that dimension. If you're wanting it to have a transparent background, like a PNG is what the file is called. You have PNG and JPEG are your two main files. JPEG has a background color to it, so if you do everything clear, the background color is going to be white. But if you want it to be transistent or see-through, transparent, you go fill background in with transparency. But I do mine with a background for right now. There are times I do with a JPEG or a PNG, but at this time we're just going to do a JPEG. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK, and you'll show up with this little box here. It's clearly boxed. You can do anything in here. Whether you do whatever, you color in here. But say you mess up and you don't feel like using the eraser tool, there are shortcuts here on GIMP that help out a lot. So if you do Control-Z, it completely erases your last move. So if you, let's open up something here real quick, and I'll go over how to do this. I just want to kind of go over the Control-Z method. Say I open my logo here, right? So I'm looking at my logo, and I take an eraser, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to erase that little bit, and oh no, and boom. And I just start going over everything, right? It's just really ruined, as you can see up here, this controller, right? Boom. Now I erase that, and I use the clone tool and everything else. I can actually just hit Control Z, and everything goes back to normal, like there's no issue. So it doesn't matter how bad you mess up your item or anything like that. No matter how bad you mess it up, it can always be fixed. So, anyways, so here we are. We got our blank slate again. So basically, there are multiple different ways to do this. Some people don't want to cut things out, and that's fine. You can find stuff on the internet already cut out. So let's open up Fortnite PNG. Let's see what we can get. Fortnite PNG. Let's see what we can get already cut out. And a lot of times the image quality that you get off of this stuff is not all that great. But let's say we want this team here, right? So what you would have to do is you copy the image and go over here and hit Control V, which is your paste. As you can see, now you have a background on it. So you can't just do that. You actually have to save the image as a PNG image. And that's going to make sure it transfers over there. So now it's like, okay, well, I saved it. Where is it? You go to File, you go to Open, and it'll be under your Downloads. That's where you have it set. Some people have it set to go under Pictures, some have it go under Documents. So, but there's the Fortnite characters there. So basically what we're going to do is, we're going to open them up right here inside. And as you see, it's transparent background. Well, the way to copy everything in a picture is to hit Control A and Control C. And that Control A says copy everything, and then Control C, or select everything, and then Control C says copy everything. So now that you copied it, you can paste them over here to your stuff. Now, here's where it becomes important. You can either anchor this, and that would make it on the background layer here. So if you do that, it makes it all just one layer. So now anything you do to this background, it's going to change to everything on those characters. But say you don't want to do that. Say you want something different going on in the background. So all you do is hit to a new layer for these characters. So this way you can hide them and you still have your background. Whereas if it was anchored, the background would go away with it. So now you can actually work around these characters. But say you want to learn how to do this. Say you want to learn how to cut out characters. All right, well, luckily I had already saved something to cut out. Let's start off something simple, okay? Here is the Port-a-Fort bomb from Fortnite. So I hit it to a new layer. Now it comes here. But say you're wanting to cut this stuff out, right? Well, there's multiple ways to cut stuff out. You got this thing here called a wand tool. It's also called a fuzzy select tool here. But in Photoshop, it's a wand tool. And over here, you have the free select tool, which is like a lasso. These are the lasso, the eraser, the wand. It's going to be our main tools right now. We'll go over a few more here in this tutorial, but these are going to be our main tools right now. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to hit that wand tool, and you're going to want to see what all gets selected to get deleted out of curiosity. This is what I do. So then you can go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to actually get rid of Fortnite on that as well, because I'm going to put a different Fortnite name on it. So we're going to go to the eraser. Now the eraser starts off at this itty bitty size. So how do I change the size of the eraser, the opacity, all of that stuff? What you do is you double click it, and then you get a tools option for that tool. And it works on all tools, basically. So if I want to go to a clone tool, you can open the tool options. Same with the brushes, the fonts, all of it. All you do is double click it, and that tool option will work for most everything. Just sit here and play with it. It's fine what you do. So here's where we change the brush size of the eraser. So I'm gonna take it up to 200 just to kind of speed things up. And we're not gonna worry about changing the opacity and the image. So basically we're just gonna erase out everything that we don't want in this picture. We just want the Port-a-Fort, right? Well, that's all we want. So basically you just erase everything. When you get closer to the image, you got to be careful, because if you go too far in, as you can see, it just deletes some of that image. So what you got to kind of just, especially if you're going to keep it on a bigger thing to speed things up, just kind of like graze around it. As you can see, the color around it went away, but I didn't mess up anything on my Port-a-Fort like I just did there. So it's just, as you can see, it takes some practice, and generally I work around 130, 150. It just, things works just a wee bit better for me. Uh, and then I use a lot of the lasso tool. So say, okay, I'm done erasing and I don't want to do all that. I want to use the lasso tool. So there's two different ways to use the lasso tool. You can just free arm it and then connect the dots, and everything that's in that area that you did will get deleted. You can go up to hit and select all, or select none to get rid of the selection, which is Shift Control A, or you can do the tool. This is where the shorthands come in handy. Or say you draw something over here you didn't mean to, you just redraw over here, and it would get rid of that selection over there. So what you can do is you can actually follow the tool, or not the tool, the picture around with this tool to get a closer shave. And this is how I do most of my stuff. This is right here. I use the eraser tool, but I really like the lasso tool. It really saves a lot of time. So as you can see, we just deleted all of that. And as you can see, it didn't phase any of our stuff. There's still a little bit of color here and there, but we can easily get rid of that with a quick eraser, and we're done. We're going to leave the shadow there, or we can get rid of the shadow, or we can lighten the shadow up. It doesn't matter. This is your opacity. This will change your stuff to where it doesn't erase it always. It doesn't erase the whole thing. Now it looks more like a shadow than just a giant blue blob. So now we have more of a shadow effect. So now we can take this tool and we can move it down. And if you want, okay, so now we're looking at it and it's too big. Now it's just too big for the picture. Or at least that's in my opinion. Some people want bigger items in the picture. I don't know. So we open the scale tool, which is this tool right here. It's also Shift T. Like I said, you can go through if you want to use shortcuts, or you can click on the tool yourself. That's all personal preference. Excuse me, I take a drink. So anyways, so we're going to hit this tool here, and we're going to highlight it. Now, if you look here, the chain is unlinked. So whatever you do, it's only doing it to that one vertical or height or width. So, which can leave your picture distorted and sometimes messed up. So you're going to want to make sure these two things are clicked together, and then that way it evenly changes the picture. So here's the port-a-fort. All right. So now we can bring in the team, and now we got the port-a-fort in front of the team. Now, they actually got the one with the color, and you can delete everything off of there and get rid of characters you don't like. Say I don't want, Ninja Dude here, and I want something else there. You can just cut around this Ninja Dude like this. And of course, you'll have to do some cleanup, but I'm just kind of brashly showing. So say I didn't want Ninja Dude there. I'm going to want something else there. So you can take that Ninja Dude out of the picture. Oh, I still got this on halfway erase. We're going to want that on full erase. So we just take that. But now you're like, oh, well, what about his feet? You're going to notice that. Well, that's the beauty of manipulating stuff. You can move this around and hide it. And now you don't know the Ninja Dude's there. You could actually put another character there, which I think I downloaded one previously to show y'all something, but I did not. Yeah, I thought I did, but my bad. All right, well, we can just go to the internet and pull one up. So say you don't want one on PNG. You just want Fortnite characters, right? PNG is going to show up a lot of times, but like I said, I don't like the image quality that usually gets uploaded to Google through their PNG. I usually like to get the character pictures. Like, okay, let's get the Rust Lord here, right? And we're going to copy that image. Now, we can copy this image without saving it because he is not a PNG background. So we're going to go ahead and hit Control V. We're going to bring the Rust Lord up in this, and we're going to go ahead and move that up because it's at 400 width. Boom. So he's about the same height as them. So basically, if you hit the wand tool, as you can see, it hits it in spots because there's a design within a design within a design within a design. It's a more complex layer. So you can just get rid of the purple, and you can get rid of this, and You can keep his shadow if you want, or you can get rid of it. It doesn't even matter. It's how you're wanting to do your picture. As Bob Ross would say, there's no such thing as a mistake. It's a happy mistake. It's your world. You paint with it how you want. So basically, so we get rid of all that, and now I'm going to bring in the brush. And we're going to clean this up, right? All right, so we're going to clean this up. And this is how you get a character from, say you want a character in your picture, but there's just no PNG pictures of them, or there's no good quality PNGs, and you want to do your own. So you just have to do it as a JPEG, find a picture of a JPEG character, and clean them up and cut them out your way. So when you start getting closer to the character, what I do is I raise this up to 100%, and I'll move the character around and start cutting around the character my way. So then I just closely follow the lines. So basically, if you ever learn how to color in the lines, it's basically the same thing. Except this time you're coloring outside the lines because you want the stuff in the lines. And it's a little bit more time consuming doing it this way, but I'm more of a perfectionist when it comes to this kind of stuff. I tend to put more time into my artwork than I mean to. And then that's why everybody says, "Oh, I'll do thumbnails for you." Well, like I said, it falls under that perfectionist thing. So, but there you go. So as you can see, we start cutting things out from him, and you can do it either way because once you minimize it. If you happen to mess up, like I said, don't worry about 90%, 99.9% of the time, people don't notice every little artifact on the picture. I mean, so you don't have to be perfect. It's just going for a thumbnail, right? There's going to be mistakes if you look at any art picture. I mean, you can critique anything if you wanted, so it's just all kinds of stuff. But overall, you want your whole picture to look good to capture somebody's eye. I mean, if somebody's blown it up in a manipulator program to look at all your mistakes, then that person's just got too much time on their hands. So say you decide, okay, well, I want to start erasing, which we're going to lower that tool down. You can't erase anything unless it's inside where the area is highlighted. So I can't erase anything over here because you got this. So what you do is you go up here and hit select none, and then you can start erasing whatever on this image. And this is why you want to keep stuff on separate image, because if it was not on a separate image, you'd be manipulating the background. Now, this not just work for art as well. You can also do this with regular photos. You can restore black and white photos in this. You can do all kinds of stuff with a photo manipulator. It's actually a very interesting program. So basically what we're going to do is get rid of this. Now, obviously we're not going to be here nitpicking everything because it's just a tutorial and I don't want to drag it out for y'all. But basically what we're doing is focusing. I do that sometimes, I guess. But yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me, what do I use for my thumbnails? Where do I get my thumbnails? And then there's people that I told about it and they've downloaded it, and then they're like, well, I don't understand it. And it can be kind of overwhelming at first if you don't know anything about it. I was originally, I had learned Photoshop back in 2005 when I went to school for computer animation and video game design. So this is kind of what I grew up learning. So basically, boom, we'll go ahead and delete that. And all it does is take practice. Practice makes perfect on anything. Even Bob Ross said that. It just takes practice. Now you can see we got basically everything. There's a little bit of purple on them, but it's nothing like major. And you can wand it to get most of it out if you're wanting. Like I said, you're not going to notice most of it anyway. So I'm going to lower this down just because I'm so close in now. And so now he's going to have a slight purple background. And if you put a background on there, which I'm going to, we'll have to clean them up a little bit more. But for the sake of sanity, we're going to back up. And as you can see, 90 9% of his background is gone. So now we can add the Rust Lord into our picture. And now it's like, well, now he's overstepping. He looks different, whatnot. Just slide it back. Boom. Or now if you want him to be here, or you can slide him back even further so he can go behind the characters. You can play peekaboo. It's like, oh, hey, here I am. And actually, I see a piece of purple I missed there. Anyways, so yeah, he can go anywhere. He can go closer here. He can go closer there. And say you want 2 Rust Lords or 3 Rust Lords in there. Well, do I have to do that every time? Do I have to go through all that work? No. Now that you've done the work and you've got your character set out, you can actually hit duplicate layer. So now you have 2 Rust Lords. And the more you duplicate, whenever you hit duplicate, it's going to be that last one that you're highlighted on. So now you can add as many Rust Lords in there if you're wanting. If that's your thing. I don't judge. So you can put all the Rust Lords in there you want. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get rid of all that because I don't want that many Rust Lords. Control Z. There we go. And sometimes it's good to duplicate a layer and not move it. And what it'll do is it'll darken up areas that, like, say you want to see if you got rid of all the purple. So if you duplicate it like 3 or 4 times over, it'll really start darkening where the purples are at. And you just go back to the original and start, you can mark that out too. So there's multiple ways to kind of do stuff here. But a lot of people, what I've noticed for starting out, will look for PNGs and just slap a bunch of PNGs on the back of a picture. Me personally, I like finding the character picture I like and cutting it out myself. I like to stay sharp. I like to stay practiced on this. So basically, next thing is like, okay, so now what are we going to add here next? So you go back to open and you find images that you want. Well, we got a Portafort in there, so I want a Ford in there. Now, Control A, Control C. That will select all and copy all. And then we're going to put this on a new layer. We're going to put this over here. And as you can see, it's kind of small. So the problem with finding pictures that you didn't do, like say a background picture, is a lot of times they don't blow up right. So I blow this up to the 1920 by 1080p, right? Let's see. So this is where you would have to actually unchain it to finish. And I kind of do like 1921 by 1081. For the picture, just so it makes sure it covers and doesn't, you want it to kind of bleed over the edges a little bit if you can afford it. But sometimes the picture will come out blurry and you just can't use it. And so now you have your Portafort here, right? So now you can take that all the way down, boom. So now we can do the rearranging. And you don't have to highlight each character to move them if you don't want to. We're going to put their feet down here on the ground so they don't look like they're floating. We're going to put the Portafort right here in front of them. Move my Rust Lord down. And there we go. So now you have that. But now you're like, well, they don't say Fortnite in there anywhere. Well, now that's where you have to go in here and hit Fortnite. Now you can either do PNG or you can do a PNG. Most of these come in PNG, but you can cut your own out if you're really wanting to. But most people just go ahead and get these already in PNG. You can get that style. There's so many different styles of different Fortnite writing. I tend to lean more towards this one. So say you happen to get one that has a background. Well, these are a lot easier to clean up because, oops. These are a lot more easy to clean up just for the simple fact that it's not as complex. So you can just hit the wand and that will get rid of all of that really quick. But if you don't want to take that extra step or the extra time out, then go ahead and find it as a PNG. So we're going to take that. Boom. We're going to take that here. All right. And actually, we're going to take that Rust Lord down just a wee bit. He's just a wee bit bigger than everybody else. Like I said, just a wee bit. Yeah, I like that better. And you can raise them up if you want. You can, I mean, you can manipulate the picture however you want, and that's the whole point of it. And this, it's a time thing, and this is why a lot of people, when they make a thumbnail, they stick to the same thumbnail, and they use the same thumbnail over and over and over and over and over again. I don't mind reusing an old thumbnail from, say, 3 months ago, but I don't want to use the same thumbnail, 60 times over, every night after night after night or whatever. Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people are pressed on time and everything. That's what I'm saying. There's other ways to make a picture yours. Like, obviously, I don't own this background. I don't own the characters, generally. You don't own the characters. But you can own the picture by making it your own. So, what else can I do to make this character my own? Well, let's look at the Fortnite stuff. Now, like I said, you can type in PNG and pull out everything of your own if you're wanting and add stuff in there, or you can cut the character out yourself. Some people are going to want to do this because it saves time, like boom. So you can save time like that and save these two characters here and then open it up and do this. And if you want to open multiple things to not have to hit that again, just hold down the control button and click everything you want clicked. Remember, control A, control C is what does select all and copy, and boom. So now we're going to put this character falling from the sky. We're going to move Fortnite around. So now we're going to make this person a wee bit smaller to make it look like she's further in the air, coming down. We're going to make Fortnite itself is smaller. We're going to put him down over here. And I don't even want the dog tags in there. And boom. We'll put them behind the character. I don't even care. We'll move them around. We'll mess with it. This way it's just out of my way. So now we opened both of these. So let's go ahead and get both these characters in here. But, I mean, you have to remember, even if it's your art piece, unless you drew these characters up yourself and they didn't look nothing like them, they're not yours. So they're still subject to copyright. So you can't say, oh, it is your thumbnail. Yes, you did make it. Yes, it doesn't exist anywhere. As you can see, we're making our own. But you don't own the right to the characters and all that stuff. That's a very important thing. I've seen people get in trouble for that, claiming it as their own artwork. Well, technically, this isn't your artwork. You don't own these characters. You didn't draw this up. You didn't design it or nothing like that. So that's a very important thing to remember. But it is your thumbnail when you make it. So it's one of those thin, borderline, fine line things, I guess. But anyways, so basically now we have multiple characters here. But say, what I do with my stuff is after I get done making it, most of everybody who's a YouTuber has their logo. So what you want to do is you're going to slap your logo on there. Just so everybody knows this is your thumbnail and, whatever. But if somebody's, I don't see nothing wrong with that. It's just that way people on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, when they see it, they're like, okay, hey, that's another Lost Productions photo, whatnot. That's his thumbnail. So we're going to put it right here at the base of the fort right here. Now, as you can see, it's covering the characters. All you got to do is move it down on the layers. And boom, now it's behind these characters and out of the way. Boom. So now we're going to put a John Wick in here. I just feel like John Wick needs to be in here. So you can actually type in Fortnite John Wick. And most of the time, you're going to have to cut him out. He's not in a PNG. So you're actually going to, if you're going to want him in a picture, you're going to have to really work on it. So we're going to use this image right here because I want him on the side like there. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control V. We're going to bring this image up. We're going to highlight this. Oh, actually, it's when your tools disappear like that, sometimes just hit the rescale button and then your layers come back. It's one of those things that you have to kind of do. But anyways, so we're going to raise this up some. We're going to want John Wick a wee bit bigger. Just to kind of see what we're cutting out here. So now we go back to our lasso tool. And this is where, you spend a lot of time making a thumbnail and things happen. So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to cut out John Wick here. as very bulky and nasty looking, and that way we can thin it out and really work on it. So boom. So now we're going to cut out John Wick, and so you're going to, once you have this, you're going to hit Control C and Control V, and you're going to put John Wick on his own thing, and then we can just go ahead and delete that layer. So now we got this really nasty looking cutout of John Wick, or the Reaper as he is so called on here. We can actually just delete that, and then bring up the select none, and then bring this up and erase it. Now, as you can see, we're missing a chunk of John Wick here, and like I said, it's not going to matter. Not where I'm putting them, not where I'm seeing where I want to put them. Now, if you're wanting to, you're gonna have to, if you're gonna not want to cut part of him out, you're gonna really have to try to find a picture of John Wick, and that way you can add them in without. You're gonna have to really cut them out because I don't think there's any actually PNGs of him. All right, so basically, we're going to put him behind the Rust Lord. I want him behind the Rust Lord. And we're going to lower this down just a wee bit. I want him behind the Rust Lord. And as you can see, you got kind of a purple highlight on your character. But you can put John Wick in there, which it's not what I'm wanting. But anyways, just kind of show you what I was talking about. So now you can put all the stuff in there. It's actually not the John Wick I'm wanting. So we're just going to dispose of all of that information there. Just kind of see what we got here. So if you can find one like this actually works out too. Copy image, release image. Because, yeah, I kind of want his feet in there. Shift T, cancel, give me back my layer. See, so like I said, they go away sometimes. So when you get a picture that's all black, as you can see, that's wanting to cut out a lot of actual John Wick or the Reaper. So what you're going to have to cut them out. You're going to have to cut them out. So anyways, basically what my plan here is for this John Wick is I'm going to do a really sloppy cutout. Alright, so we're going to hit Control C, Control V, and then I'm just going to delete this one, delete. So now we got a really sloppy cutout of John Wick. Now, you still can't use the wand on this because it's still wanting to cut out his leg. So how do I prevent that where I can do that? Well, you don't actually have to go across this whole thing with the lasso tool. Basically, what you can do is you can just cut out a little bit that's giving you the issue. So once you cut out the one that's giving you the issue, then you can use your lasso or your wand tool to delete the rest. Now you can see part of his shoes there. This is a good way to see. This is kind of how I do it. I kind of base it off of there. So basically what you're doing is you're cutting off the areas where the wand, you're cutting off its area and ability to cut off that area. So boom, now we did that. But now we got a little bit of black here, but it's not actually connected to his shoe no more. So we can actually cut all that out, and boom. Now we have a cutout of John Wick. So that one was fairly quicker than some of the other cutouts. And we're going to actually want to minimize them down, not large them up. About like that, I think. Yeah, that'll work. So we're going to put John Wick here. We're going to put, actually, let's put John Wick over here at the end by this guy. We're going to put him facing off over here. We're going to put John Wick over here in this corner. Just to kind of make the image a little bit more. And actually, we can go ahead and cut out this character, because I don't like him. We're going to cut this character out and get rid of them. And then what we're going to do is bring back up our logo. And we're going to bring the logo up just a wee bit over the characters here. And we're going to enlarge it. And that way we can bring it down. You can leave it over that character if you're wanting. You can bring the characters over. I just kind of, fix them where I chopped her arm off. Or if, you can spend a little bit more time with it, you don't have to chop her arm off. But say you did chop her arm off. Let's go over this real quick. Say you did chop her arm off and you're like, holy freaking crap, I chopped her arm off. Everybody's going to notice a giant missing gap. Well, what you could do is you can use the clone tool, and we're actually going to minimize this clone tool. Small too. So basically, you're going to hit the control button there, and this is where you can start manipulating the photo. I don't have them highlighted. And you can start manipulating and rebuilding her arm. Now, there's been several times I've had to do this on some of my stuff. She's got arms like twigs anyway, so the odds of anybody actually noticing that you rebuild her arm are going to be slim to none. Now everybody's going to go back and look at my old stuff and see what they can notice. But you can rebuild her arm if you want to take that kind of time in there. For tutorial sakes, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that character there. And we're going to, basically, that's it. That's where we're at. Thumbnail's done. This should give you an idea of what we're streaming tonight too. Since we did the tutorial. So this is what I tell everybody when I build a thumbnail. I spend a little bit of time on them. I enjoy doing them. That's a past creativity. Like I said, it's something I went to school for. And I enjoy it. I really do. So anyways, thank y'all so much for tuning in. If anybody has any questions over anything here in GIMP, I almost said OBS, here in GIMP, please feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to help anybody out. I really don't mind. It's definitely a really fun art form I enjoy doing. I really enjoy doing this kind of stuff. So, anyways, I'm Eric with Another Lost Production. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. It does help out tremendously. Sorry it was a little lengthy, but I just kind of was trying to get the point across of everything in here. The main tools that you're going to use. I didn't even go over like mirror image. You got mirror image, so you can flip the image. You got shear tools, which I like to use when you'll see it a lot, where you change the 3D direction of the words or the character. You can change all different kinds of stuff. You can do all kinds of stuff in there. You can rotate things around if you wanted. You can do, like I said, there's so much you can do here. The shear tools, the flip tools, the perspective tools, text. You can add all kinds of text in there. So there's a lot you can do here. And you can see all that will show up there. So, yeah. So now font styles. There's not a lot of font styles here. You can download them, or you can go to a site I like to use, which I type in fonts here, and I go to 1001 free fonts. And basically, say we type in Fortnite, right? And instead of having to download a bunch of stuff for your computer, you can just go through here and find one that you like. Say, okay, I like this one right here. We're just going to start off right here. You can make it as large as you want so it doesn't become distorted later on. But you have to save this one, but it's a lot easier than downloading a whole thing on here. And I didn't like downloading a bunch of stuff to my computer. So what I did was I started using this, which actually works out really well. They are royalty free, so you don't have to worry about it. There are some paid ones over there, so it won't let you save it if it's paid. They actually require you to pay them. But anyways, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can manipulate it. But say you get it there and you're like, oh man, I don't like the red. Do I have to go back? You can actually just go ahead and use your wand tool and say I wanted it as Sick-Witted Gaming's favorite color, cayenne. His color. Say we're going to do that. You just do Control, comma, and it would color in that color. And if you do that, you'll color in everything like that. But like I said, Control Z will be your best friend. Boom. So say we wanted all of that cayenne. And boom. So now it's a cayenne color. So really interesting everything you do there, but I don't want that there at all. So I mean, it looked cool and whatnot, but we're not thing. But there's filters, there's all kinds of stuff. Just play around with it, and like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But anyways, that'll end this for this tutorial. Thank y'all so much, and I hope to see y'all tonight live on Xbox tonight with 7 p.m. Central. So I'll see y'all there. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and Godspeed. Oh, whoa, 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 skirt, skirt, back, back. All right. The main thing is saving after you're done. You don't want to lose your artwork, so you're going to want to save this. I always save mine as one or two. And it's like, oh, you already did that. That's another thumbnail. Once you save it, you're not done. You have to export it. And it's going to want to do it as a PNG, which takes up more file space. So you don't have to do that because you're going to just do it as a JPEG, JPG. And boom. Now you can exit out, and you don't have to worry about losing your stuff. And that's it.